Welcome to TTM Cast, your sports collectibles podcast. TTM Cast is brought to you by WannaShuffle, the free monthly autograph trading service. Also supported by sportscollectorsdaily.com. If it happens in the hobby, you'll find it on sportscollectorsdaily.com. And sponsored by gemrate.com. The latest grading statistics from the 4 major grading companies are just a click away. Visit gemrate.com. It's free. And now, here's our host, Drew Pelto.
Hello, everybody. Welcome once again here to TTM Cast, your sports collectibles podcast. Place where we talk TTM, cards, autographs, collecting, whatever comes to mind here for us. This is season number 8, episode number 11, coming to you on June 6th. It is D-Day, the 81st anniversary of it, I think? Something like that. 82nd anniversary of it, I guess. Something like that. But yeah, D-Day. My great uncle was there. He survived it, not long after, but, made it through. And this is, of course, a nationally ranked sports collectibles podcast. I am Drew Pelto as we are recording here in Arlington. Aaron Littleton is actually here in the room with me. This is the first time I think we've ever done the show in person. And, going through the entire history of the show, Jeff Baker and I only recorded in person together once the entire time that he hosted it there. So this is definitely a rarity. But Aaron, good to have you here in the co-host seat.
Yeah, it's good to be here. I've spent the last few days flipping children at the American Gymnastics Association camp in Mansfield, just a little bit away from here. So yeah, thought I'd drop by and second time in TTM history. That's a pretty good feat to be had here today.
Definitely is. So we'll get right down to business here. We're into the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, which we'll talk a little bit more with Clemente Lisi about that here in a few minutes. Got the NBA championships going on as well. Vegas versus Carolina, San Antonio versus the New York Knicks. Yikes. 2 series I have literally zero interest in. I've watched a little bit of both, but not very much. Aaron, have you bothered checking out either of them at all so far?
Yes, it's funny because like I said, I was at camp and they had us up in a hotel, and so every night, basically the only free time you have is at night, and so the last few nights we've watched game 1 and 2 of the NBA Finals. That's a really interesting one, going on there in San Antonio, seeing all the legends there last night from, Walt Clyde Frazier to John Starks to, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, all those guys. So yeah, definitely a star-studded affair. But yeah, crazy great games, and then obviously a little bit of controversy in the Canes VGK game there. But yeah, it's pretty thrilling series going on all around.
NFL news, of course, we're hitting the start of camps and the big June 1st deadline of all the big trades, and Myles Garrett gone from the Browns. Got Jared Verse, a first-rounder this year, or a first-rounder in 2027, second-rounder in 2028, a third-rounder in 2029. I guess that's an okay return, but, this is, Myles Garrett, a generational player, and to trade him no matter what you get for, just like, that's a backbreaker here for Cleveland fans. Aaron, any thoughts on there? It doesn't affect your any of your NFL teams there at all, but any thoughts there?
Yeah, obviously the Browns are going to have a hard time replacing his production in the near future. But hopefully they can get something of substance back for him.
Over in the off-ice world of hockey, Link Gates. I don't know if you know anything about him, Aaron. Link Gates is wanted again, this time for assaulting a cab driver, apparently. So, for anyone who doesn't know, Link Gates is one of the most violent people in hockey history, is all I can really say there. But I'll tell you about him off the air. There's a lot of listeners who I'm sure are going to hear that name and go, my God, he's still alive? So, so apparently, we won't go too deep into that. But, the hockey fans out there will find that very entertaining that Link Gates is in the news and wanted again for another assault. As a little show news, we are still looking for sponsors for the rest of 2026 on into 2027. We've got a lot of segments of the show that you can get a sponsorship in. If you'd like to get a part of that, shoot us an email. We'll mention that address here in just a moment. Aaron and I are heading out to Frisco tomorrow. We're going to see the Springfield Cardinals coming in, try to graph them and the Frisco Rough Riders. I still do not have my stuff together. You can see the boxes right up there. All my Springfield stuff is in there with all the St. Louis stuff and all the other teams there. But I fortunately have it broken down, so at least there's a few guys that I can pull from there, I'm sure. I know you've probably already gotten your cards, prepped a week ago. Any big names that we'll be looking out for?
Yeah, so they've got a catcher there who's in the top 100. I don't know how you say his name, Raynell, is that right? Raynell Rodriguez, something like that. Yeah, I'll have to brush up on the pronunciation before we try to get his autograph. But yeah, him and Liam Doyle are really the 1-2 in the Cardinal system, I believe. And yeah, so those are the big prospects we'll be going for, and hopefully we can get them to sign their name on some cards for us.
So other stuff going on in our collections here. Well, USPS kind of sucks in case anyone out there didn't realize it. I mean, as TTMers, I'm sure a lot of you did, but informed delivery, I was supposed to have, it looked like it was 2, well, it looked like it was supposed to be 4 coming in on Monday. Suddenly it changed and it said there were 2. And they weren't in the mailbox there at all. They weren't there Monday, they weren't there Tuesday, they weren't there Wednesday. Jen finally asked the counter and said, what's the deal here? What's going on here? Like, oh yeah, it'll show up. I mean, it's not a guarantee that it'll be there on that day or anything, which is ridiculous because 99 times out of 100, if it shows up on there, I get it that day. If I don't, it's there the next day. And if it doesn't show up in the first 2 days, it's usually gone. I never see it at all, which is fortunately rare, but it has happened a few times. Fortunately, it did finally show up today when I went by my P.O. box, so that was nice at least that it came in there. And it turns out it wasn't 2, it was the same one got scanned twice, which is pleasant, but yeah, I at least got there, so it's a happy ending, but informed delivery, I love it and I hate it at the same time. So, yeah, fun stuff going on there. Other stuff, my Panini album did indeed come in the mail here this last week, so I was able to break down a box of stickers and got most of them put in. I'm still got, I think, 8 teams yet to go through there, but I've at least got them in order and should be able to knock those out sometime today, sometime tomorrow, somewhere in there. A couple 21 Heritage pickups. I bought autographed cards of Nico Horner, Aaron Nola, and both the Alex Bregman cards for that set. So nice pickups there, courtesy of Robert Mudaspaw, who sells on eBay. And anytime he comes across a 21 Heritage, he contacts me first before he goes and puts it up. So hooking me up on those. Big thanks to him for that. My weight is under 215 pounds, down from almost 250. So yay for that. My goal is still to hit 200 by the end of the World Cup by the day that we leave on our road trip. So 15 pounds in about 6 weeks. It's doable. It's going to be tough. We'll see what happens there, but it's on the way there at least. So, Aaron, what have you been up to here over the last couple of weeks?
So yeah, I mean, there as far as hobby stuff going on, not very much, unfortunately. The last couple of weeks I've spent at various camps and flipping children all around the North Texas area, and so that's really what I've been doing. But yeah, so obviously a couple of weeks ago we graphed the San Antonio Missions when they came in to Frisco. And mixed bag on that. Most of the guys were really good. Tirso Ornelas and Ethan Solis did not feel like signing for us that day, so unfortunately. But yeah, we did get I think almost everybody else, and the rest of the guys were great about signing. So yeah, so always happy to get whatever you can when you go out to the ballpark. It's really kind of like one of those money chambers where they just blow the money, and you're just trying to grab feverishly whatever blows by you. That's what graphing is like mostly these days. In accordance with my Michael Young collection, I did actually have a pretty big pickup. You'll remember I mentioned on the show a few, maybe like 2 months ago, I had purchased a set from a guy who was about 2/3 of the way through the 2025 Panini Select set, and he had already acquired the 1/1 gold vinyl. I bought that one. Well, then I saw there are 3 1/1s in that set. There's the gold vinyl, there's the black finite, and I'm blanking on the other one. And so I saw that eBay housed the black finite 1/1, and I was able to secure that one for my collection. So I now have 2 of the 3 1/1s, and I'll figure out what the other one is, and I will let y'all know. So if you see that one floating around, please let me know so I can. I think 3 1/1s. I mean, that's a lot to get for one set. I've never, Michael has never been around in an era in which there were that many 1-of-1s in one singular set. So if you can find that one, I'd like to get it done and complete the trifecta of 1-of-1s for that set. And then tomorrow, as Drew said, we are going to be doing Springfield. See those guys, and hopefully we can get some autographs then too, and every time we go out.
Well, there you go. So, hey, if you come across that Michael Young, that'd be great. I'm with you on there. I don't have any Corey Snyder 1-of-1s at all. He doesn't have that many because, he was around even further before Michael Young even was. So, but yeah, a few have come across lately here because of all the Leaf sets that they've put him into. And there's another Corey Snyder collector out there who I think has been snapping all of them up. And I'm not willing to get into a bidding war of, $50 on each of these or anything. So go ahead, take them, Chief. I'll get everything else that I can. So there you go. Hey, this week's show, we've got Clemente's World, as Clemente Lisi is going to be joining us. We mentioned earlier on that we're going to be talking some Stanley Cup Finals and some World Cup with him. So stay tuned for that a little bit later on. And of course, we have all of our regular segments, Baker's Dozen, talking all the upcoming signings and hobby news and some product releases as well. Hobby Happenings, we'll be talking to Belinda Wheeler from WannaShuffle in there and talk about some upcoming card shows all around the country. We'll talk to Clemente Lisi in Clemente's World and then go into Making the Grade, covering all things in the world of grading. We also have the stamp of approval. Aaron and I give our thumbs up to something from the previous couple of weeks. Could be sports-related, could be collectibles-related. Typically, it's not. We also have the Vern Rapp Minute, covering deaths in the world of sports, celebrity, music, movies, and politics among any notable TTMers. And, of course, the main reason why this entire show exists, it is our TTM Returns. If you'd like to get a hold of us, Aaron, what is the email address here for our show?
That is ttmcast@yahoo.com.
Shoot us any questions, comments, anything like that you've got. We've got a spoiler alert. There's a contest entry coming up as well that will go through that email address. If you'd like to get a hold of me directly, you can find my website at dfwgrapher.com. You can email me at dfwgrapher@gmail.com. And I'm on most social media at dfwgrapher. Aaron, where can the people get a hold of you?
All right, and so Instagram is really the hub for that. I do a lot of stuff on Instagram. I'm still sorting through my Michael Young collection. That stuff is forthcoming, and you can see it if you follow me at Arron Sports Card Explosion. That's Arron, Arron. That's not how you spell Aaron, but that's how I spell it. So yeah, check that out. You can see my Michael Young collection and maybe some autographs, all sorts of other stuff like that. And then if you want to follow our shenanigans on the road this summer for the national trip, you can follow the Eternal Graphing Tour with an underscore in between each of those words, also on Instagram. And yeah, you can see all of the cool stuff that me and Drew get up to at the national and at all the minor league and major league parks we'll be visiting this summer.
So there you go, and here we go as we get down to business with Baker's Dozen.
Baker's Dozen, sponsored by SportsCollectorsDaily.com.
Smart collectors turn to Sports Collectors Daily to stay up to date. From new releases to incredible collections hitting the auction block, news from inside the business of sports collectibles, and much more, Sports Collectors Daily has it, all with no subscription cost. SC Daily also delivers a live look at the most watched sports card auctions on eBay for every sport. Sign up to get the headlines in your email for free or just visit the website whenever you like. With 16,000 stories in the archive going back 16 years, there's always plenty to read at sportscollectorsdaily.com.
Baker's Dozen, just a brief news summary of things going on in the collectibles world, especially some upcoming releases. Before we get into that, though, make sure you're checking out sportscollectorsdaily.com. I write an article every couple of weeks whenever we have a show, and you can see all of my TTMs on there. You don't just get to hear about them here on the show. You can see them actually in those articles. And they've got a whole bunch of other great info out there as well. All of the sports collectibles news you can handle at sportscollectorsdaily.com. Want to remind you as well to check out the TTM Cast store. Go to ttmcast.com, click on that top banner where it says TTM Cast store. Get yourself a t-shirt, a hoodie, a hat. We've got stickers. We've got a button on there. We've got, what else? What am I missing? We've got the little pouch thing you can keep stuff in. I've got one in my bag here that I keep all my Sharpies in. So get yourself one of those as well. ttmcast.com. Click on that store banner. Well, we teased a little bit earlier on. We've got a giveaway for June. Of course, May we had the, I think it was the Sig Spot Cards giveaway. Before that, we did a giveaway of Clemente Lisi's book. This time, we're going to give away some autographs. I'm going to have at least 10 random signed cards I'm going to be giving away here. So we're going to actually add to the pot as well. The more entries we get, the more cards are going into it. It's going to be at least 10 signed cards, but for every 3 entries that we get into it from TTM Cast listeners, we're going to add another extra card in there. So if we get 30 entries, it's going to be 20 cards that are going to be given away. So get on this, enter into it. Aaron, what is that email address once again for people to enter into this?
That is ttmcast@yahoo.com.
So make sure you put in the subject there. Just say, June giveaway, June autograph giveaway, June TTM Cast giveaway, something like that. Just make sure you're registering for the June giveaway. We're going to draw our winner in 2 weeks approximately when we record the show on the 20th of June. So get your entries in by, we'll say, June 18th, just to be on the safe side. So Thursday, June 18th, get your entries in, and we'll pick a winner during that episode. Once again, you can get yourself a signed TTM Cast hosts card that has myself and Arron on it in the 2003 Topps design. We both have signed it. Send yourself a self-addressed stamped envelope to Drew Pelto, P.O. Box 140421, Irving, Texas 75014. And one more reminder, the TTM Cast meetup at the National Sports Collectors Convention is going to be at Giordano's Pizzeria, 9415 Higgins Road. We're going to start taking RSVPs for that here probably around the time of our next episode there. Give us a little over a month there to get all that together. So make sure you let us know that you want to come out to that so we can get a table big enough. Everyone is going to be responsible for their own food and drinks. We unfortunately cannot pick up the bill on that. Maybe if we get a really big sponsor or something like that. Hint, hint, listeners, get those sponsors in there with us. But yeah, you're unfortunately going to be picking up your own bills on that. But it's a good time to come on out, hang out with the hosts, hang out with other fans, all that kind of great stuff. Let's take a look at some upcoming product releases we've got going on here. Of course, the big one right now coming on June 10th, 2026, Topps Series 2 Baseball. In that, you're going to see 12 cards per pack, 20 packs per box, 1 autograph or memorabilia card per box, along with 1 hobby-exclusive silver pack. Pre-sale price on that runs $175. I'm going to be looking for a complete set of that here right after it comes out, I think, just to make sure I've got one on hand. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that when it comes out. And what else we got here?
We also have 2025-2026 Topps Merlin English Premier League Soccer that drops on June the 11th. Wow, that sounds very fancy. Very, very fancy set indeed. For that product, you're going to get 4 cards per pack. You're going to get 18 packs per box, 1 autograph, 19 inserts or parallels per box as well, and a fancy product deserves a fancy price. And so the pre-sale price for that is $300.
Not as fancy as it sounds like it would be with that kind of a name there, but hey, I'll take it. That's pretty good at least. We got some Panini stuff coming out here. 2026 Donruss Elite Baseball comes on June the 17th, so a little less than a week later. 5 cards per pack, 20 packs per box. In there, you're going to see 2 autographs and 20 inserts or parallels. Pre-sale price on that one's going to run us $250.
And also, we have 2026 Panini Select Racing that comes out on June the 17th. You will get 5 cards per pack. You'll get 12 packs per box. And you will get 3 autographs or memorabilia cards and 12 inserts and parallels per box as well. The pre-sale price for that product is $150.
And last among our new releases here, we have the 2025-26 Topps Chrome UEFA Women's Champions League Soccer. It's a long title. We're out of time. I'm sorry. We'll get to the rest of this next week. Comes on June 18th, and 4 cards per pack, 20 packs per box in there. 2 autographs and 14 inserts or parallels in those boxes. Pre-sale price, that's going to run you only $95. Not too bad there. I guess maybe Fanatics heard me with my complaint about hoops the other week there, and they put some reasonable prices now finally on stuff here. But how about some upcoming signings? We missed this last episode there. I was running out of time, and I'm like, you know what? We're just going to have to skip on this and tell you where to check it out. But we finally have some here to list off for you. Starting with Autographs Inc. right here in the DFW area, the Britton family running things over there. They're doing a signing on July 1st with former Cleveland Browns wide receiver Fair Hooker, and of course, everybody needs a Fair Hooker. $7 is the starting price on him. You can find out more about them on their Facebook page at Autographs Inc. That is Inc. with an INK.
Silverback Sports is going to have a whole bunch of pitchers. And so on July 1st, they will have a signing with Darren Holmes. That signing will start at $15 per item. The next week, they are going on July 8th, they will have Jeff Facero, former, let me see here, definitely a Cub. Marlin, I believe, not Marlin, maybe. Okay, anyway, I'm not as good as at that as Drew is. Which reminds me, get your players in for Drew to guess all the teams. We're going to do that on the National. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, Jeff Facero, as I was saying, on July the 8th, that signing starts at $15 per item. On the 11th, on July 11th, they will have former New York Met Mike Pelfrey, who's going to be signing for also $15 an item, and also for $15 an item on July the 15th, they will have also former New York Met John Neese. So all the pitchers all the time for Silverback Sports. For more information about that, you can check out silverbacksports.com.
I think Facero was also with the Red Sox, and I know the Expos as well. So at least those two and maybe a couple others in there. So and there's a lot of overlap between the Marlins and Expos there because of that weird ownership situation. So, yeah. Anyways, enough showing off. We've got Under the Radar is going to have a bunch of guys here across at least two sports. Todd Schaefer running things over there, and he's going to have on July 6th, Sylvain Turgeon, brother of Pierre Turgeon. Kind of a tough sig to get. Might need him if you're collecting any late 80s and early 90s hockey stuff. $20 an item, the starting price on there. On July 11th, they're going to have former Tiger and Cardinal, maybe a couple other teams, but at least those two. Placido Polanco, $20 price tag on him. July 12th, we're going to have a pitcher and a catcher there, as on they're going to have Tom Gordon, formerly of the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Phillies, the Royals, not sure who else. That's $15 there, though, for him. And I don't think he was ever a battery mate of his, but a catcher at least. July 12th, we're going to have Lance Parrish in for a signing there. Former Tiger, former Philly. Let's see, the Indians, the Mariners, the Angels. I think that's everybody. $25 an item, the starting price there on Lance Parrish. You can find more about all of those guys at undertheradar.net.
And on July the 7th, the wilder side of sports, Jim Falbo, they're going to have former, Rangers legend Rusty Greer signing for them on July the 7th for $10 per item, and former second baseman, I think of him as a Minnesota Twin, but I know he played for other teams as well, Todd Walker, also on July 7th, and that signing starts at $15 per item. And for more information about that, you can check out wildersideofsports.com.
DEB signings, or DEB autographs, I guess is their official name. Dominion running things over there. And they're going to have Ramon Martinez in. Not the one you're thinking of, though. It's not the pitcher here. This is going to be the Giants infielder who debuted around 97, 98, somewhere around there. Short career. But they're going to have him on July 8th. Signing price for him is going to start at $12. Check out Facebook at DEB Sports, autographs and signings for all of that info.
All right, and Smith's Cards is going to have a couple guys on July the 8th. They will have former Diamondbacks outfielder David Peralta starting at $20 per item. And also on July 8th, they will also have Danny Valencia signing. That signing will start at $15 per item. And for more information about that, you can check out smithscards.com.
Down in Virginia, 757 Card Shows is going to have a mail-in on July 12th for Natron Means, because Natron means business. That's $15 an item right there. If you want to find out more about him, go and check out their website for all of their upcoming shows and signings at 757cardshows.com.
And our friends at JB Autos are going to have a signing that is out of this world. The Spaceman, Bill Lee, is going to be signing for them on July the 10th. That signing starts at a measly $10 per item, so you can get all sorts of crazy inscriptions, I'm sure. All of those that you would like. And for more information about that, you can check out JB Autos on SCN.
One of my favorite ones, he will write, Yankees suck except Sparky Lyle, or something like that. Apparently he likes Sparky Lyle and nobody else, and that's like, I can get behind that. Jamie Bly, we try to mention his signings as much as we can on here. He's always been great about them. And on July 11th, he's going to have Lloyd Mosby again. I got Mosby through him last year, so if you need him, highly recommended. Only $12 an item there to start on any of those Mosby cards you may need signed. You can find more from him on SCN at Jamie Bly. That's JamieBlye.
So I don't know why you were when you were talking about that Sparky Lyle thing that I thought about. I think it was Dick Grote, right, former NL MVP for the Pirates. Once told an umpire that he was his second favorite umpire in the league after he had blown a call, and that all the other umpires were tied for first. I don't know why I thought about that. And Drew, in true form, has given me the longest read of this whole thing because he he likes to see me squirm. Okay, so on July the 12th, our friend Sam Lina, is that how we say that? Lina. Sorry. I should have prepped this read before I did it. Yeah, we'll have Ron Knight and Ron Knight. That signing starts at $20. This is why he gives me these reads. That signing starts at $20 per item. And on July 14th, he will have Eric Money, and that signing also starts at $12 at $20 per item. On July the 15th, he will have Paul Pressey. That signing starts at $15 per item. Also on the 15th, he will have Mac Calvin signing for $20 per item. And lastly, on the 15th, he will have James Jones, who played in the ABA. There's lots of James Jones. Just check Facebook. You can see all of them. The ABA James Jones, he will be signing for $20 per item. And for more information about that, you can check out SCN under Kitten, as in meow, Kitten 6.
Funny thing with James Jones, you mentioned there's a whole bunch of them out there. We had to pull photos for a James Jones this week on my job from a football player, James Jones. We're going through and like, which one is this? Because there have been at least 4 of them, and I can think of 3 off the top of my head. And we're like, I think it's this one, but check. And no, we had the wrong one. So yeah, there's at least 2 basketball ones. There's the ABA one that's doing this signing. There was a former Miami Heat one. So yeah, glad they clarified that at least. Lastly, Perry Sports Legends is going to have Mike McFarlane in on July 12th, former catcher of the Royals and Red Sox, and maybe a couple others, those 2 at least. $12 an item, the starting price on those. Perry Sports Legends does some great stuff. I've gone through them a few times. You can find out more info about them at perrysportslegends.com. If you want info about more signings, whether it's some that are coming up earlier, some that are coming up later, some that are more expensive than $25, go and check out sportscollectors.net. It only costs $25 a year, it only costs $15 a year to join that. It's positively cheap. I'm just trying to say it's $25, and even that would be a good price, but $15 a year to join that. Go and check them out. Right now, I think it's time we move on into hobby happenings.
You heard that right. It's time for Hobby Happenings. Hobby Happenings is proudly sponsored by WannaShuffle, the free monthly autograph trading service. For more information, check out WannaShuffle on Instagram, Facebook, or at wannashuffle.com.
We're here in Hobby Happenings, and we're going to talk to Belinda Wheeler from WannaShuffle right now. All right, let's check in here on some WannaShuffle news, joined here by Belinda Wheeler, who runs everything over there. Haven't heard from you in a couple months. Great to have you back on here once again. I know you've been really busy with getting around with a lot of work travel, I think it was, right?
Yes, I have been, Drew, and apologies to listeners. It's been, very busy with work, but hey, it's good to be busy. That's I'm grateful for that. And I've still enjoyed listening to the TTM cast recordings and everything, and catching up with what you and Arron have been doing and everyone else in the hobby. So it's been great. But yes, been super busy.
Yeah. How have things been looking on the WannaShuffle front? How have the numbers been looking?
Yeah, things are great, Drew. We're continuing to receive close to 300 trades per month, which is fantastic. So there's no slowing down, and that's awesome. I love it.
It's definitely good to hear. What are some of the cooler things you've seen here lately? Any notable stuff that's come in here the last couple months?
Yeah, so I definitely want to keep things in a very very excited, high energy tone, but I do want to mention that for May, which I'm just finishing up the May shuffle right now on the 4th of June when we're recording this. But as you know, it's been a tough month in the hobby for a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of fans of Kyle Busch with NASCAR, which you guys talked about in the last recording, and the Atlanta Braves with Bobby Cox and Ted Turner. And I'm going to butcher his last name, so you can correct me on this, Drew, but Claude Lemieux from the Canadiens NHL.
Lemieux, yeah.
Lemieux, yes, yes. Um, so that the reason I mention that is because we've received some memorable items that came in from which
Hmm.
included an autograph card by Claude.
Oh wow.
Received that come in. Kurt Busch, Kyle's brother, we received an autograph card in of his. And then just on the Brave side of things, didn't get a Ted Turner or a Bobby Cox auto in, but a legendary Milwaukee Braves player, Bob Rush, auto came in.
Hmm.
So those were some kind of memorable ones that, it was super cool, but it was also super sad given the, circumstances for me. But, that's part of the hobby, right? We've got, current signers, and then we're celebrating, people that are no longer with us and grateful to have their autographs. So, some people will be getting some of those this month as I send them out in the next couple of days. Some have already gone out for me, but I'm finishing them up this week and they'll all go out. So, yeah.
Nice. How are things looking for June? I know we've got the bonus items and such. What do we have on the schedule for this month?
Yeah, so I'm doing something completely different for June with the giveaway. This month is actually the 1 year anniversary of WannaShuffle being featured on the television show The Card Life.
Oh yeah.
So this month I'll be giving away, they've recently opened up their merchandise kind of store with one of their partners, and I thought one of their coffee mugs was super cool. So whoever gets chosen for June, I'll reach out to them and be like, hey, we're going to send you a Card Life coffee mug to their address, which obviously I'll have their address because they've been doing TTM. So they'll be getting that in addition to their regular trade as well. So I thought that would be a nice way just to, support the Card Life for, having me on the show last year, and just to kind of memorialize the 1 year anniversary of WannaShuffle being featured on the show.
Yeah. It's amazing the card life is still going on and everything there. I mean, it's like you'd think that after a while, it's like, okay, you're probably going to run out of hobby ideas. No, this is, I mean, what, maybe 3, 4 seasons they've been at this now, maybe even longer than that, and
Yes.
still coming up with new stuff, which is really great.
Yeah, they're all so creative. And I think they've got another TV show that they've just started. I forget, and it's focused on the kids.
Hmm.
Let me see, the Card Life. I'm just gonna look that up really quick.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely.
think there's a separate other show that they've just debuted very recently, and it's all about, yeah, the kids in the hobby as
Hmm.
well. And I was like, whoa, no way they're doing that too. So
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. They're just, yeah, really, really creative, and it's a really good show. And not only do we get to see it if people have cable, but then people can go onto their YouTube channel and check those videos out. So anyone in the world can be watching that, which is really cool. And yeah, I just actually looked it up. So it's called Hobby House Kids and
Okay.
Collecting, and they're in their first season of that, and that's all about the kids collecting, which I know for WannaShuffle, we get quite a few kids that send in each month, which is neat. And of course, people my age, and then, people older, much older than me. So it's good to have all these different demographics in the hobby, which is cool.
It absolutely is. I mean, because if you don't have the kids in the hobby, it's going to die out eventually. And at the same time, you get the older collectors in there. They may have stuff from 50s and 60s that they'd be willing to part with there, and you may have some kid that gets that and thinking that's the coolest thing they've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we often get, obviously we get a lot of contemporary cards in Wanna Shuffle, and then of course we get the junk wax era autograph cards,
Hmm.
which a lot of people from my generation absolutely love. But yes, we do get some. I'll call them in a really nice way old timers, in a favorable way, the old timers, and they're sometimes sending in cards from not so many the 50s, but definitely like the 60s and 70s. And that's just super cool because, again, for me, I think I've mentioned this before, growing up in Australia, for the 60s cards, I wasn't alive yet. So a lot of these people I don't know. And also because I grew up in Australia, so I'm still learning about some of those old school kind of athletes and, TV stars and stuff like that. And then for the 70s, still just learning a lot too. So very neat.
Well, in that case, I think what I'm probably going to do this month, I'm going to look through and see what I can find for my 60s stuff that I've got an extra of and send that in as my contribution for this one. So
Awesome. Yeah, I saw the one that you sent in for this, well, I say this month because I'm still processing it for May with the AFL, the footy one.
Yes.
That one was so cool. And I know you talked about that on the show, the last show. So someone that's going out to someone this month. So that's super cool. So yeah, I loved the idea of you sending in one from the 60s. I know that there'll be a number of different people, the regulars that send in that would be very excited about the prospect of getting a autographed card from the 60s, my friend.
I'm glad you brought up the AFL one too, because I was actually going to ask you after we got done here, because I had sent it fairly late in April. I'm like, is this going to get here in time for April or not? And I didn't get anything in the April shuffle. I'm like, it must have gotten there late then. So yeah, I'm just glad to know that it came in for the May one at least. So that's
yeah,
exactly
yeah. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because there were a few people that reached out to me during the month of May who were like, hey, I didn't receive anything for April. And I was able, because everyone knows I put everything in an Excel spreadsheet so that I can kind of keep track. And yes, USPS, I don't know what they were doing, if they were chucking a party at different locations. I don't know what was going on, but I'd say there was probably at least 10 people that reached out and was like, hey, just wanted to check in. And I did not get their submission for April. So, now I've got, so I was able to let them know, yeah, this one did not come in, but I do have it for the May shuffle. And yeah, so, but I don't know what's been going on with USPS lately. Yeah.
I'm sure by the time we get to this in the show this week, I probably will have had a few comments about USPS earlier too, as well, because I have had a rotten week with them. I was supposed to get 2 TTMs in on Monday. Well, it originally said 4 on Monday on my informed delivery.
Yes.
Nothing was there, and then 2 of them got erased, and it said on the next day, oh, hey, yeah, these 2 are going to be there. I'm like, you can't cheat me like that. Hang on a second. And so my wife had to go and actually ask at the counter. I said, we're supposed to have mail here. What gives? And they're like, oh, yeah, sometimes informed delivery is off. And they go and look for it. Like, oh, yeah, here's 2. And I'm like, it wasn't supposed to be 2. It's supposed to be 4, but okay. So, and it still hasn't gotten here yet. So we'll see what happens with today's delivery.
That informed delivery is a blessing and a curse, right? Because it's so good to be like, oh yeah, this is coming. But then if it doesn't come on time or even the day after, then you're like, then you start to worry. You're like, oh my God, did they send it? Like, did they put it in someone else's mailbox or, and then, your brain starts going overtime. So yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, that informed delivery for sure.
Yep. So hopefully that'll come around. Hopefully everybody's going to get their shuffles in this month and everything, and it'll all go smoothly. But real quick, I mean, I won't ask you to recap every single team that you're needing the way we sometimes try to go through all that. Just but tell everyone, where can they find that list online of what teams you need? Where can they find all your other social media as well?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you. So on my Instagram page, which is Wanna_shuffle, so Wanna_shuffle, I at the beginning of the month I post, like what the needs are. And then also on my Facebook account, WannaShuffle, we have that listed there as well. So, and it's been really great. And I can't thank the listeners enough for, checking their, little collections that they have and being like, what's on that list, and then trying to send something in that's related to that has been so helpful, to the other shufflers in the group, because, there's sometimes where we get, requests in, and for whatever reason, it's that team hasn't been historically good with, doing autographs, or I don't know, any kind of issues. And sometimes it's hard to kind of fill, a shuffler's kind of favorite choices. So everyone kind of chipping in has been super grateful. So thanks everyone. If you wouldn't mind checking out the Instagram or the Facebook account to kind of see that updated list of sports and things like that and non-sports, that would be greatly appreciated.
All right, well, there you go. So check all that out. Get your shuffles in here for June. Unfortunately, we're getting on early in the month here, so hopefully everyone's going to hit it and get it out in the next week or so, and we'll flood your post office box there with a whole bunch of requests, hopefully. So
it's been great, honestly. Every time I go, like some of the people, because it's Cordova, which this is not like San Antonio, Texas, or Chicago, Illinois. Like this is a very small post office that I get the deliveries to. So when I go to the mailbox and I'm pulling stuff out the PO box, some of the locals look at me and I was like, what is going on? Because I might be pulling out 50, 60 envelopes, and the postal worker knows me by name and has asked me a few questions about WannaShuffle. She said, what is going on here? Because I get more mail than everyone else in the whole city. I'm Cordova with the post office boxes. So, but it's great. It's fun. It's always, as everyone knows, I love doing WannaShuffle. Who doesn't love getting mail when it's not bills? And just connecting with the community and everything. It's really great.
Sounds good. Well, hey, once again, Belinda, thanks for joining us on the WannaShuffle update segment here, and we'll talk to you, I'm sure, in July as well and get an update then.
Sounds good, my friend. Take care.
And a big thanks to Belinda joining us once again here for Hobby Happenings. Now we take a look at some upcoming shows. These are ones that are going to be taking place in the next couple of weeks here in early to mid-June. Starting with the Real Deal Buffalo Show, and that's going to be at Grapevine Event Center in Depew, New York. Admission is free for that one, and they're going to have 6 signers, including some big names in hockey there. John Tavares is going to be signing there, as are Hall of Famers Pat LaFontaine and Gilbert Perreault. If you want to find out more about that show, go and check out realdealbuffalosports.com.
And then we've got the Emerald Square show going on June the 13th and 14th. That will be emanating from Emerald Square Mall in North Attleboro, Massachusetts. The admission there is free, and Drew, as you know, you can't beat free. And they will have basketball legend Sanders and Jack Parker signing there. So for more information about that, you can check out cardboardpromotions.com.
The Emanating Emeralds. We also have the Toronto Fan Con going on. That'll be on June 12th through the 14th. If you're up in Canada there, it's going to be at the International Centre in Mississauga, Ontario. Admission's a little steeper there, $25 to get into that, but it sounds like it's a pretty big show from what I was hearing. PWHL player Emma Maltese is going to be signing there, as will former Maple Leafs, Kings, and Bruins, maybe a couple other teams, goalie Felix Potvin. Not sure the pricing on those, but if you want to check out anything about that, follow on Instagram at csc.sportscards on Instagram.
All right, and we also have the LA Card Show that is going to be going on also on June 13th and 14th. That will happen at the Los Angeles Convention Center. Admission there is $30, and they will have former Dodgers great Steve Garvey signing there. And so for more information about that, you can check out lacardshow.com.
If you're up in Massachusetts, we've got the Causeway Card Show coming up on June the 13th. It'll be taking place at Big Night Live in Boston. Admission is $10 to get into that one, and Celtics guard Ron Harper Jr. will be there as their autograph signer. If you need more info about that, go and check out their website at causewaycardshow.com.
And then we have the St. Louis Sports Collector Show that's going on June the 14th. That's a busy weekend. All over the country, card shows. June the 14th at Orlando's Maryland Heights in Missouri. Admission there is $3, and they will have Dow Maxville and Mike Torres signing there. So for more information about that, you can check out stlsportscollectors.com.
Just a little ways up the road from there, they've got the Chicago Card Show. June the 14th will be the date on that one. It's at the Bridgeview, Illinois Community Center. Admission is $1, and it's hard to beat $1. It can be beaten, obviously. Keyshawn Elliott, AJ Pierzynski, and Malik Muhammad are all going to be signing out there. If you want more info on that show, go and check out MidwestSportsBuffet.com.
That's a crazy thing, right? Charging $1. It's like, okay, we need to make some money, but we don't want to make too much money. How much can we charge? I know, right? People would pay $5, but I find that particularly hilarious that, they were like, okay, we settled on $1. We don't want to be too burdensome in this economy. So we also have the Troy Sports Card Show that's going on the next weekend, June 20th and the 21st, from Balkan American Community Center in Troy, Michigan. Admission there is free, which is better than $1. They will also have Placido Polanco, so he's getting it in. And they will also have you want to?
I'll take that one. Manon Réaume.
Thank you so much. That is way too much French for me. It's signing there. And for more information, you can check out Sports Card Shows Detroit area on Facebook.
Lastly, we've got the Mainly Card Show on June the 20th. That's at the Memorial Gym in Sanford, Maine. Hence the name Mainly. Ha, ha, ha. Admission there is only $1. And they're going to have 2 signers out there. Steve Nelson and former Red Sox reliever Bob Stanley will both be out there signing. If you want to get more info on that, go on Facebook and follow Mainly Card Shows. That's Mainely Card Shows. Don't forget, a lot of these shows do offer mail-in signings. You can visit cravetheauto.com for more info about how to send in for those, and, of course, for more upcoming shows and signings all over the country. Right now, we're going to check in with Clemente Lisi as we enter Clemente's world.
You know what that means. It's time for Clemente's world.
We are here in Clemente's world as we are here for our first episode of the first episode of June, getting too far ahead of myself there. But Clemente Lisi joining us here. And, of course, everyone knows by now, Clemente, your big areas we talk with you on the show here typically are hockey and soccer. And what a time for those 2 sports right now. We've got the Stanley Cup Finals starting up, and we've got the World Cup about a little over a week away from starting there. So we'll get to that second. But first right now, because, it's coming up right now. It's the shorter of the 2. The Stanley Cup Finals, which I don't know if anybody could possibly have predicted. I think everybody kind of expected, Carolina is going to be there, but Las Vegas, the Vegas Golden Knights end up as the Western Conference team here. So, just kind of a surprise. I think everybody thought it was going to be Carolina and Colorado. It was almost a foregone conclusion. And then, wow, shocker of all shockers there in the conference finals.
Yeah, as Sal Barry calls it, the Stanley Cup of natural disasters, the Avalanche versus the Hurricanes. That never happened. The Golden Knights have been, let's start with them. They've been extraordinary offensively. All the right players have shown up, Mark Stone and Mitch Marner and all these guys have really, Jack Eichel, they've come through. They've been scoring lots of goals and it's been pretty amazing. And they really made. The Avalanche had injuries, and so, whatever. The Golden Knights got to the finals. On the other side, the Hurricanes, I feel like it's been a few years now that the Hurricanes have been kind of knocking on that door to get pretty far, and they got this far with depth and with goaltending. Like players like Sebastian Aho haven't really had a great series, and I do think that should the Golden Knights win it, Mitch Marner would definitely be the Conn Smythe MVP because he's had a pretty crazy playoffs, 21 points. A great pickup by the Golden Knights, but I think it's going to be a tight series. That's what I'm hoping for. And I say Golden Knights in 6, but it could go either way. And also I should point out if the Golden Knights do win it, it would be their second Stanley Cup in 9 years, which I think most teams around the league, most fans of teams around the league will be very jealous considering that teams have been around for decades and decades and haven't won this thing. And now here the Golden Knights are on the precipice of maybe another championship.
That absolutely disgusts me, frankly, because they changed the rules on the expansion draft and massively benefited them to the point where they're finalists their first year in the league, then they go and win one a few years later, and they have a chance to win another one here. It's like, come on, really? But
yeah, it's a new era we're in, and that's true. We remember the '90s when you had Tampa Bay Lightning and the San Jose Sharks, and they were terrible for decades, basically, like 15 years before they got good. And here we are. But put that aside, I'm hoping it's going to be a good series because the hockey playoffs, the NHL playoffs are really truly the most exciting, I think, of all the sports. And you want it to be, the worst thing that can happen would be a sweep here either way because you won't get the most out of it. So I hope it's a great finale. It's been an amazing season and we'll see what happens. We all hope, us neutrals are hoping for a good series. That's all.
I don't even know if I can call myself a neutral at this point. Being married to a Colorado fan, she's like, God, I hope Carolina just pounds them. So I'm like, yeah, I'd like that. And like I said, the whole how they got so lucky in the expansion draft. And then combined just for the third one, John Tortorella has a chance to possibly Barry Switzer his way to another Stanley Cup. I don't understand how the guy keeps on getting hired, but he gets on here with Vegas and ends up. Yeah, he's going to Barry Switzer his way to another cup possibly here. And just trying to make me hate hockey gods. This is just ridiculous.
It's true. No, it does make it more difficult. But yeah, no, it is an interesting subplot among the many. In terms of, card values, I always like to look at card values. Yeah. The Stanley Cup, the playoffs themselves give players kind of minor bumps, but generally it doesn't sustain itself. So you look at Mitch Marner's, like his rookie card, his Young Guns card is up maybe about $20. It's about $100 raw now from $80. Still pretty affordable considering that the hobby loves to gravitate towards Gretzky and McDavid and Crosby and Ovechkin, and then everybody else kind of falls way behind. So the chance now is really if you're gonna buy, maybe the time is now, or if you want to sell, the time is now because I can see a bump going through the national, and then after that it just crashes down, and these players go back to normal. And Mitch Marner will still be worth $80, in like 6 months from now. And but having said that, these temporary bumps are nice because I hate that the hobby, especially hockey, we really gravitate towards two or three figures and not other players. And I mean, like I look at like a Jack Eichel or a Mark Stone. These are amazing players, and they just the values are so low. But I understand that it's the big stars or the rookies. That's the other thing, like Connor Bedard and Matthew Schaefer. Now he's the hot rookie, obviously, and his Young Guns card is $200 now. Okay, raw, so it's worth a lot more. Now that could level off if he has a bust career, but these guys tend to, these latest number one draft picks have done pretty well, I have to say. Last couple of years, but between Bedard, Celebrini, now Schaefer, these guys are doing pretty well. So not a sure bet, but a better bet than some of these older guys that maybe been in the league 15 years. That maybe that's, a place to buy, but you can't really sell. You can't make it. You can't flip these guys. That's all.
It's just amazing going back to what you said there about just how the hobby focuses in on just a couple players at a time, especially if you compare it to baseball. You got like Willie McCovey, for example, who's kind of one of the under-the-radar 500 home run guys, still gets, some pretty good value on stuff like his rookie card compared to somebody like Mike Gartner in the NHL, 700 career goals, and it's like, unless you're a big hockey fan, you might have never have heard of the guy.
Correct. And Mike Gardner's pre-junk wax, so you can't blame it on that either. You can't blame it on they made so many of his cards. It's not even that. You're right. And it's frustrating. I feel like baseball may be the only sport where you see that because I see in football, it's only quarterbacks. Basketball, there are more stars in basketball. I feel like there's definitely it's spread out more. But yeah, this thing it disturbs me a bit because even when you go to a big show, you're looking for variety, and you just don't see these cards in the showcases because even people that do hockey are like, well, it's not going to move. If I put a Mitch Marner Young Guns in the showcase, will anybody buy it? Even if he wins the Stanley Cup, even if he's MVP, will anybody care? And so that's part of the frustration. But it's different if you go to an expo. I think there you have more hockey dealers. But I'm talking about the national, which is 50 something days away. I with a few hockey dealers there, who knows what we'll see. But I don't think you're going to see a lot of Golden Knights or Hurricanes cards at all. I don't think that's going to be a thing. You're going to see McDavid and Gretzky, Ovechkin, and then Crosby, and that'll be it.
Just a little transition here before we talk World Cup. You just mentioned the National there. I know you're going to be out there this year, I believe. I know we're going to be out there as well. Aaron and I are going to be out there the whole time. Anything? We're going to start talking National a lot more in the next couple of weeks here, but anything you're going to be keeping your eye out for while you're out there?
So I get to a point at this time of year where I already start to put together a list of cards I want, and I don't want to buy them on eBay. I kind of want to buy them at the show if I can. So what I end up doing is I kind of create a wish list, and then what I do is I try to save some of my money. But what I think I'm going to be looking for is it'll be post World Cup. So maybe there's people looking to sell off Prism singles, and maybe there's a way to get some cheaper cards that way, or maybe they're expensive because post World Cup. I don't know. I think once the World Cup is over, it's going to be out of sight, out of mind for like 90% of people, right? And so that might be to our benefit, for example. Hockey, I'm always looking for, young guns, and there's like two or three good hockey dealers at the show. And so I always look there. And then, the thing with the National is I always look for, sometimes I don't even come with a list. I'm just want to find something I never seen before, maybe something I haven't seen in person ever, and I want to buy that. So I want to be able to be a little bit more free, and I want to have a rigid list because look, we live in a world where you can go on eBay and basically find anything you want. And so, but I do want to support dealers. I'm looking for a good deal. And you want to leave the show and say, you know what, I went to that show and I picked up a couple of great cards. But for me, it's also about seeing you, seeing my friends, hanging out, doing stuff, being social, because a big part of the hobby is that as well. It's not, we're not all paying a lot of money for hotels and flights just to look at cards, because you can do that on eBay or on ComC or anywhere, or you can go to your local show. It is for me, a big part of it is all this stuff that we do talk about all the time is to actually see people in person, talk about the hobby, buy, sell, trade, whatever, and then see stuff you just never seen before, and that's always fun. And then critique the national. I feel like the national is the only card show probably on the planet that afterwards we all talk about, was it good? Was it bad? Did you go to that room? What were they doing in the corporate area? Like this, it's you had to be there, and so I'm looking forward to seeing you and also that get together you guys are talking about. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun. And thanks for putting that together. And so, yeah, it's all about that. So that's my strategy going in. And then usually I'm working for Sports Collectors Digest. I'm doing a couple of stories. I'm also doing interviews. So like I'm also working. So there's a lot of things. We all wear many hats, and we all do content, and we also collect, and then we also want to hang out. So it's. I will say by the time I get to like the fourth day, close to the last day, I'm kind of done.
Yeah.
And I'll make a confession right here on air. Maybe because the winter was very rough in the Northeast. The last card show I went to was the National. I haven't been to one since the National. So my next card show may actually be the National, which is crazy because I've never gone basically a 12 months without ever going to a show, because a lot of the shows, the White Plains show, those were in January. It snowed heavily. I didn't go. And so unless I hit I doubt I'm going to hit a show, because I think between uh, June 11th and July 19th, those are the days of the World Cup, I don't think I'm going to be leaving my home other than to go to a couple of games, which I have tickets to. And that's it. So I think, I'm basically going to be AWOL. So if people have recommendations for like a Netflix show or something on Amazon, it's not happening. I'll be watching 4 games a day in the group stage. We should remind people it's a 48 team World Cup with 104 games. This is going to be massive. I don't think we're going to survive it. I hope we will, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah. So 48 teams here in the World Cup this year. And have you gotten your sticker album yet? Because mine just arrived today, finally.
Okay, so you got the hardcover. So I went old school and I got the soft cover, but I will say the hardcover is a good move because, as you know, probably from putting the stickers in, I've been doing that now for a couple of weeks. There's a lot of page turning, and the pages start to get a little, I haven't gotten to that point yet. And it's a behemoth of a book, I will say. And I thought the hardest part was going to be the Coca-Cola stickers. It turns out that wasn't too hard for me, between me drinking a couple extra Cokes, which I probably shouldn't have done, and also people saying to me, "Oh, hey, do you need them?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I've gotten even some extras at this point because I think they could be good trade bait. So the Coca-Cola, I'm done with those, and I saw that you posted the same thing, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. As you know, it's a massive book, and the collation is all over the place. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I've opened probably at this point about 50 packs, and I've gotten an overwhelming high number of Sweden players. So my Sweden page is almost done. And then there's like teams like Haiti where I have like one sticker.
Yep.
So, the problem is going to be this. I've seen estimates that show that if you want to buy your way to completion, you can spend about $2,500. Okay, so that's not the way to go. Okay, what you want to do is you want to buy a box or two because you want to just get started. And we should point out each pack is $2. It's more than last time. Last time they were $1.20, so they're a little more. So 5 packs, $10. A pack of 50 is $50. $100. A pack of a box of 50 packages. So I've gotten 2 boxes. I'm making my way through those. But then I think the key after that is to get enough duplication to start to say, okay, can I trade on Facebook? Can I go to, people should look on Instagram or Facebook, this physical place you can meet up. So that'll be good. The other thing too is don't feel like you have to complete it during the World Cup. I mean, I completed my album in 2022, I think by December. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's by like February or March. Like I went over, like I was like, okay, the thing is, once it's over the World Cup and you can't find the stickers in the wild anymore, now you have to start to like go on eBay and try to buy singles. The problem on eBay is that people are selling singles for $2 or $3 for one sticker. So that's expensive too when a pack is $2, of 7. So I recommend it. Maybe at the National, maybe you and I can do some trading there as well, or through the mail. We can mail to each other. We can figure out. I'm not at the point yet where I have a list of what I need because I need a lot. Right. I'm still early stage.
Right.
But I think watching the World Cup and putting the stickers in will be fun. I do find that it can be very overwhelming when you open lots of packs and then so I don't open too many packs at once. I open two or three and then I put them in the book because otherwise I will have stacks and stacks of stickers.
Yep.
Stop putting them in and trying to do the collation is hard in that in the years past I used to do consecutive numbers. Now the key is on that second page there is that little grid with the team and the page number. I'd like either put that to memory or photocopy and tape it to your wall so you're not constantly flipping around and try to set them aside by groups. That's how they're put in the book by group, not by alphabetical, not by any other number order. It's by the groups they're in group A, group B, group C until group I. No, yeah, J. There's 12 groups. It's a lot of groups. So there's a lot to the method, but I do recommend that trading has to become a real thing. Otherwise, you're going to get into some trouble, I think, financially.
And I've heard that's why the collation is so all over the place too, is to try to facilitate trading and try to encourage people to trade. That it's like, okay, you're not going to get a whole. I mean, it's going to take you at least, with perfect collation, you're going to need at least 3 boxes of stickers to be able to finish it off. And that's probably not going to happen too easily. Like you say, it costs you up to $2,500 if you want to do it just by, buying packs and everything. But
Right.
it helps encourage trading. So it's like, okay, there's a method to this madness. Go with it out there then, collectors. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was told at Panini 4 years ago, and I did a story on the stickers, that they print equal amount of each one. So there isn't like more Messis or fewer Messis than another player, even though I always seem to get like 8 of the same South Korean guy I never heard of and like one Messi. I don't know how that works out, but some people probably have 8 Messis, which is great because a Messi's worth probably like 3 or 4 different stickers if you want to trade. I mean, obviously. So that but how many have they printed of each one? They don't say, but I have to think each one is in the millions because this sticker album and this book is global. It's everywhere.
Yep.
It's bonkers. I mean, my drugstore had them for a week and they sold all out. Then we had 10 more days until they all came back, and now they have stacks of boxes. And whenever I go in there, I try to grab 2 or 3, even though I have a box or 2 at home. I try to grab 2 or 3 because I want to get different packs from different places.
Yep.
I was in Washington, D.C. recently for work, and I went to like a CVS and I just grabbed a couple of packs there. I'm like, I'm in a different city. Maybe they have different stuff here, like just because you want to break up the monotony of a box. And it's not like cards. There's no hot box. There's none of this. Now, there are parallels. I should point that out. And I'm one of these old school people where I don't put the parallel in the book. I want them all to have white borders. So I want base only. Now, if you want to make a book of just blue or purple or gold, now you're really making your life complicated. So what I do with the parallels, I try to sell them off, put them on ComC, trade them away. I don't put them in the book. To me, they're just extra. So for me, it's all white borders, old school, put them all in there. And Panini made the parallels really for the American audience because cards and all that. And we should point out too, this was big news a couple of weeks ago, that starting in 2031, Topps will take over, Fanatics will take over the license. So this is the penultimate World Cup with Panini. We'll have 2030 with Panini, and then it will be the end of an era. I mean, 1970 was the first World Cup. Panini created these stickers. They're iconic. It's a bittersweet thing, even though I understand it's business and whatever, but I thought that day was a bit of a mourning for all of us who just know this brand to be so iconic, to be tied to the World Cup. It's a shame, but it is what it is.
I have a hot sports opinion on that, but I can't say it on air. So, yeah,
Yes.
I'll just leave it at that. But
Yeah.
so outside of the sticker album, obviously, that's the biggest thing that's going on right there. But what other collectibles are coming out right now for it? Do we have any card sets that are on the horizon here for the World Cup? I know Prism, of course, we just mentioned a bit ago, of course.
Yeah, so the big one is Prism, and so that has gotten very expensive. So a box of that is now I think 900 and something dollars. So
Jeez.
and you won't complete a set obviously by buying one box, but the key is, do you get parallels? Will you get autographs? So people are chasing that, and okay, great. I don't normally buy a box. I don't think I've ever bought a box of Prism World Cup. I've always looked for singles, picked up the key players I like, and then inevitably you go to a national, you go to a big regional show, and there's plenty of dollar boxes where you can pick up a bunch. So That's what I will do. At some point during the World Cup, I'll probably buy Panini Prism. Other collectibles are coming out now because there's so many marketing corporate opportunities. So McDonald's has been a sponsor of the World Cup since '94, since it was held here 32 years ago. So what they're going to do is they're going to have Happy Meals with these like plushy toys called Squishamallows of different countries. So if you're into that, that's great. But they're also going to create these commemorative cups where they will have iconic players on them like Thierry Henry and David Beckham. And I will say, this stuff all sounds really cool, but it's not helping my diet if I have to go buy Cokes and McDonald's just to pick up these kind of keepsakes. So that's the other thing people are going to be chasing, these cups. They're plastic, but people are still going to be in them, and you're going to end up probably seeing them on eBay for the next 20 years. But those are part of the Happy Meal, and McDonald's is going to announce these early June. So you're starting to see now more and more of these opportunities where companies are starting to create memorabilia merchandise. I mean, I go to Walgreens and CVS, and they're selling scarves and T-shirts and World Cup pins and hats. And I've never seen so much soccer stuff in a store. It's actually quite refreshing for a soccer fan like me, who's been a fan for 30 plus years, 40 years, to see, even more marketing opportunities in '94. '94 was big, but it was still rather unknown to the American public. The American public knows what the World Cup is now. I mean, we've been watching every 4 years for 30 years. So it really feels something that's at home. And I think it's going to be a huge success, hopefully, because you hear about, politics and ice and ticket prices. But I know from my own experience that once we start talking about games and not off the field stuff, then it's going to be fun. And so we have to wait until June 11th, unfortunately, for all that for the first game. Then June 12th, U.S. Paraguay is the first game, and hopefully the U.S. can go pretty far. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Are you going to go out to any of the games at all? Were you able to find any decent tickets at all?
Yeah, I was able to get in the pre-sale early in September. So I bought tickets to games I didn't even know who was going to play in those games, but I bought them for a MetLife Stadium near my home in New York. So I ended up getting two great games without knowing it after the draw. It turned out I got France, Senegal, and
Nice.
Norway, Senegal. So I'll get to see Mbappe and Sadio Mane from Senegal. I'll get to see Erling Haaland for Norway. I should point out I was at the World Cup final 4 years ago with that epic every three game that went to penalties.
Mhm.
So I've had my fair share of attending World Cups and seeing World Cups. And it's always fun to go to a World Cup because you get to experience the culture and the life in a foreign place. Now, 4 years later, it's coming here to our home, so it's a little different experience. I mean, so it won't be as interesting, I think, culturally, but it'll be fun to see all these different people here. And
Yes.
I think, and so that'll be fun. And I think because the '90s are kind of back, there's a lot of '94 like nostalgia. And I would recommend if you get the chance to watch on Fox, they've been showing it regularly. It's called Summer of '94,
Mhm.
and it is a documentary about the '94 World Cup team. And they interview Marcelo Balboa, Alexi Lalas, and all these guys. And I actually got to see a private screening of it in New York a couple of weeks back. And then after they showed it, they had a panel that featured Rob Stone, who's going to be the host of the World Cup matches on Fox, Alexi Lalas, Carly Lloyd, Chicharito Hernandez, and Stu Holden. They were all there, and then they autographed soccer balls for us. So I got autographs from them and got to talk to them a little bit after the panel discussion. And yeah, you can tell in New York, especially, like people are getting to the World Cup fever. It's starting to really become a real thing. And then I should point out this week the World Cup trophy is going to reach New York, which is the end of the line for the trophy tour, they're calling it, which has been all over North America. So
Mhm.
you're starting to feel the excitement in the streets as flags and bars have all kinds of stuff in the window, like proclaiming that they're going to be showing every game, that kind of thing. So I don't know if you see the same thing in the Dallas area, but it's definitely starting to, Americans are strange. Like when you have a big event, you don't know it's coming until then you're on the eve of it, and then people start to get really into it. So yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can tell already that people are gearing up for it.
We've already got a New English pub that's opening right down the street from AT&T Stadium here, so just in time for the World Cup there. So I'm sure
Yeah,
they'll be showing everything there for sure.
yeah, they'll probably have their best month in history the first month they're open.
Any predictions at all? Any countries you think you're going to do well? Any players you think that are going to have a big month there that are going to be worth keeping an eye on?
Yeah, so I haven't written my preview yet for my Planet Soccer. That's going to have to come in the next couple of days. But predicting each group, is sort of sometimes a fool's errand because sometimes a team like France, you think they're going to win the group and they finish third and they barely get out of the group, and then that changes the whole bracket, right? So, look, the easy money is on France Spain final because you have two of the best teams with the best players, Kylian Mbappe on one side, Lamine Yamal on the other. But I also tend to think that it's going to be a very hot summer, and I can't see the European teams rampaging through to the final and not having any Latin American teams, for example. So
Right.
I would say maybe Brazil, Argentina, they need to, they're in that mix too, potentially. Okay. Now we're talking about the US. What can they do? Now, for the US, the goal is to get out of the group, and then ideally they would win a knockout game. Now, the problem with the knockouts this time is because it's expanded, there's a round of 32, then a round of 16, then a quarterfinal. So to get to the quarterfinals, you have to win two games, not just one. So the US not won a knockout game since 2002 in the World Cup in Korea, Japan. So for the US getting out of the group and then winning one knockout game, getting to the round of 16, that would be after that it's all gravy. So can they do that? They absolutely can do that. I mean, the US has the players to do that. Okay, so hopefully they can do that. But there's a couple of dark horses out there. I mean, in terms of teams that maybe can go far that people don't expect, like a Croatia, like a Turkey, like a Senegal. You just don't know that there's these sort of mid-tier teams, like a Norway. You just don't know. Could they get to the quarterfinals, get to a semifinal? It's possible. Could we have a first-time World Cup winner? I don't know. The World Cup is really an elite club of 8 countries that have won the World Cup over 96 years. It's a hard group to get into. But if anybody can do it, it could be like a Norway, a Morocco, but they could get far, maybe, and not win it. And we've seen Croatia get pretty far the last couple of years and then not win it, right? They've gotten to third place, they got to a final, they didn't win it. So that's the early list. And then, my other hope is that we don't get massive blowouts in the group stage because let's not forget we have a lot of first timers like Jordan, Uzbekistan, Curacao, Cape Verde. I mean, yeah, these are countries. People have never heard of these countries, but these are countries and they're very small and it's huge for them to be at a World Cup. So I'm glad they're there. I just don't want to see Brazil beat Haiti 6-0 in the group stage because
Right.
then it's like, what are we doing here? These are the best teams, right? Supposedly. So I'm hoping, not for that. I'm hoping for some upsets. That would be kind of fun. If Haiti can beat Brazil 1-0, that would be amazing, right? So let's see what happens. I know that making predictions is often it doesn't get you anywhere. Now, 4 years ago, I did predict Argentina and France, and that did happen. Argentina did win it. I thought that was going to happen because Messi had to have the tournament of his life to kind of cement his legacy. We don't have that this time. Messi's 4 years older. He's 38 years old. Ronaldo's 41 years old. I don't see these guys are going to be able to produce maybe some bits of magic here and there. I just cannot see them winning a World Cup. But hey, you never know. Repeating as World Cup champion is extremely difficult. The last team to do that was Brazil, 1958, 1962. It's been quite a while.
Yeah. I just got a message sent to me there by my wife. Do you want a spoiler alert on what's going on with the hockey game? For anyone who's listening, by the way, we are recording this on Tuesday night, the June 2nd. Game 1 of the Cup Finals going on right now. Do you want an update as to anything that's happened there?
Yeah, give me an update. I'm not following it right now.
25 seconds in, the Carolina Hurricanes score.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah, a hot start for them there.
Setting a tone, setting the tone potentially. Yeah, I think it's key to win, game one. Obviously, if you win game one, it's important. Hey, we'll see what happens. I think there's going to be plenty of storylines out of that series for sure. But good start.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great month to be a sports fan. I mean, you've got, like I said, we talked the Stanley Cup Finals, we've got the World Cup, baseball's in full swing. I mean, NBA Finals are going on right now as well. It's just, I mean, everything except football has something going on, and I mean, we've got worldwide football doing big stuff. So
Yeah, and I just point out I'm not a basketball person, but the Knicks are in the finals, and I'm in New York, and it is everywhere. And the Knicks, the other thing too, a potential game 6 for the Knicks would coincide with the France Senegal game. If you know anything about New York, getting in and out of New York to go to New Jersey, because the train station that goes to New Jersey is also where the MSG, Madison Square Garden. It's in the same area. So that's going to be kind of a high alert day if that were to happen, with a 3 o'clock kickoff at MetLife, and then you have like a 7 o'clock, 7:30 NBA game that evening. So New York is really geared up for basketball and World Cup big time. And so we'll see what happens. It does remind me of 94. 94, we had the World Cup, we had the Knicks that did decent, and then we had the Rangers won the cup that year. So I remember the World Cup being kind of a crazy, crazy day. The opening of the World Cup coincided with the Rangers victory parade back in 94. So I remember that being a thing. So maybe the Knicks will win it, and New York will be in party mode.
I remember one of the ESPN 30 for 30s was on that little stretch of days right there because you had,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Knicks in the finals. You had the Rangers winning the cup. You had the OJ chase going on. You had,
Yes.
I think it was like Arnold Palmer playing his last Masters or something like that, and
Yes.
a whole bunch of
Yeah,
other
it's like
stuff
the
just all
craziest
coming together.
It's like the craziest day in sports, correct? It
Yeah.
was like the craziest. Yeah, it started in the morning with the parade, and then it ended at night with the chase, and it was all the stuff in between. Yeah, absolutely. And I mentioned that summer '94 documentary. The U.S. does mention how like they were playing the next day on Saturday, and they mentioned how they came back to the hotel from practice, and everyone's staring at the TV, and they're like, "What's going on?" Everyone's watching OJ. So it's funny how yeah, it's all this '90s stuff is kind of coming back, and people are talking about it again. So yeah, it's interesting, and it's also strange to be old enough now where like you remember things vividly, and now they're documentaries. So
Exactly.
yeah, it makes you feel a little old. That's all.
Yeah. All right. Any other final thoughts here before we end your segment here?
No, I just hope people really, if you're not a soccer fan, just watch the US play, take in a couple of games on TV, go to a bar. I mean, soak in the enthusiasm. The World Cup is really a fun thing, even outside the field, enjoy it. Same for the Stanley Cup Finals. Even if you're not a hockey person, if it were to get to a decisive game, 6 or 7, just watch it because it is super exciting. And like I said, this is a crazy time of year, but I hope we can talk about it in July. We'll recap the World Cup, and then we'll talk about the national and everything else. It's going to be a very busy summer for sports fans and sports collectors.
Yes.
And then don't forget in between that, this Fanatics Fest, which by the way coincides with the World Cup final in New York on July 19th. So just a lot of fun, and FIFA will have a massive booth presence at Fanatics Fest. So they purposely coincided to work together. So it's going to be a huge month for the U.S. and for sports in general, I think.
Well, there you go. Well, Clemente, we'll see you at the National for sure. And like you said, we'll see you, of course, out at the big meet and greet. And we'll be talking about that here in the next month or so.
Hope to see you soon.
Well, big thanks to Clemente Lisi joining us there as we talk some soccer, some hockey. And we'll be seeing him, of course, at the National. He's going to be out there. And we're going to check in next month with Les Wolf, who will be out there as well as we begin our national previews here, starting with our next show. So we'll have a collector's corner that specializes in that. But Arron, what do you got here?
So can we change Clemente's formal title for the show to the Socky correspondent, soccer, hockey, like just a something for your consideration.
Saki is better than Hawker. I will say that. So that is a possibility. If you had said Hawker, I would have been like, no, we're not going there. So, but we might have to do that. Let's move on into the world of grading here as we check out Making the Grade.
From the grading lab to your ears, this is Making the Grade.
All right, for Making the Grade, we have some info on the month of May. Arron, how have things been looking for the big 5 grading companies?
All right, for the month of May, PSA graded 2.07 million cards. That is down 7% from the previous month. CGC graded 641,000 cards, which is down a equal 7% for them. Beckett graded 145,000 cards, which is up 49%, so a healthy increase for them. TAG graded 52,000 cards, which is up 8%. And rounding out our list, SGC graded 48,000 cards, which is down 4% for them. So all in all, there were 2.96 million cards graded for the month of May, and that is down in total 5% for the month.
It's amazing that, the other 4 non-PSA companies are finally almost to 1 million in a month there among all that. So that's great to see right there. getting some alternatives offered there. And we'll be talking to Ryan from Gem Rate next, about a month from now. We'll be talking to him early July there, and we'll get his thoughts on some of these numbers there as well, especially with PSA's announcement recently that they're going to be pausing grading on their 2 lowest levels of service. So be interesting to see how that affects the numbers here over the next matter of weeks. Speaking of Gem Rate, we've got some exclusive numbers from them here in the Big Three.
This week's Big Three is brought to you by GemRate.com. Whose cards are hot and whose cards are cold this week? Let's find out from our friends at GemRate.com.
Well, the Big Three kind of gives us a chance to look at some individual players and their grading trends. You will find this info nowhere else. It is exclusive to TTM Cast, courtesy of Gem Rate. We've got 3 players moving up the charts here with a lot of increase in volume in their grading numbers, starting with Jack Hughes. He is up 157%. Nice to see a hockey guy there at the top of the list there. Carson, is it Bengi or Benj? I've seen it written, I have not heard it pronounced. Benj, okay, Carson Benj. He is up 78%. It's a name that I've seen a lot but never have heard anyone say. So Carson Benj comes in second, and third is Vince Carter, NBA legend, up 49%. Well, while he's not yet at the top of the list, Fernando Mendoza cards are starting to see some increased activity. His 2025 Bowman U Now, card number 67, has tripled in grading activity over the last 2 weeks. It was his most graded card on the market. Meanwhile, we've got some basketball guys moving down the list, 2 of our 3 that are falling here. Aaron, what do we got on the guys that are moving on down a bit?
All right, so we have Amen Thompson, who is down 27% this week, and Dodgers infielder, outfielder, person, player, all the things. Mookie Betts down 32%, and obviously basketball luminary, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant is down 35% to cap our list of the falling for this show.
So once again, a big thanks to Gem Rate for providing all of that info to us. The Big Three is exclusive to TTM Cast, but if you want to find some of the other info that they have out there, go and follow them on social media. I know they're at least on both Twitter and Instagram at Gem Rate. You can also dig really deep into some numbers on their website at gemrate.com. Right now, it's time for the TTM Cast Stamp of Approval.
I bet you're wondering who earned this week's TTM Cast Stamp of Approval.
Well, Stamp of Approval is just a moment for us to give our thumbs up to something from the previous couple of weeks. Sometimes collectibles related, sometimes sports related. A lot of times it's not. Mine is sort of collectibles related. And my stamp of approval for this week goes to Signs 365. They're a printing company, sign making company. They do all kinds of great stuff there. They only work with businesses. You can't do it as a personal thing at all, but they are the ones who do all the printing on the SIG Spot cards whenever I take orders on those. They've been amazing to work with on there. When I first signed up, they even gave me a $50 credit there, and I was able to print some stuff up and kind of fine-tune everything for free then because of that. So that was really great to be able to work with them to start out with there. Like I said, they print all my SIG Spot cards, and through them we have a Canvas TTM Cast banner that we can have up at the National there whenever we set up at the at Giordano's. If we decide to set up at a random table somewhere to shoot some TTM Cast stuff or record some TTM Cast stuff or anything from my channel or whatever. So, yeah, big thanks to Signs 365. They are my stamp of approval for this week. They do some really great work. And, Aaron, after you read yours, once you're holding onto the mic here, I will open this banner here so you can check it out here. So, Aaron, give us your stamp of approval.
All right, so my stamp of approval has to go to the University of Texas Longhorns softball team, who are now the back-to-back national champions. I know last year we watched the clinching game at the Bull Moose Saloon in Frisco, which is just like it's like a little bar area that they have down the left field line at the ballpark in Frisco, and so they have some TVs in there, and so neither one of us were drinking, but we were watching the game, and they were trying to close up, and it was like we were like, hang on, it's about to be the last out, and so they were gracious enough to let us watch. This year I had to go. I was driving around a bunch of screaming gymnasts, so I did not get to watch the end of the game. I watched the beginning of it, but yeah, congratulations to them. Definitely back-to-back championships and anything is nothing to sneeze at. So Nice. It's upside down. Try again. Okay, there we go. TTM Cast banner. That is a very nice banner. So yes, thank you so much for that. We'll even make sure to hang it right side up. It'll be fantastic. And yes, stamp of approval to the UT Longhorns softball team. Congratulations.
Absolutely. Always cool to see a team go back-to-back like that. And, I mean, the team they beat even, it was Texas Tech for the second year in a row, too. So kind of cool there. Well, there you go. That is this week's Stamp of Approval, as now we take a chance to look at the Vern Rapp Minute. The Vern Rapp Minute is dedicated to the memory of Mr. Vern Rapp, former Major League manager, former minor league ball player. Our show's founder, Jeff Baker, tried to mail an autograph request to him, not knowing that he had passed away already. And so we provide this as a service to the TTM collector out there, letting you know anybody who has passed away in the world of sports, celebrity, music, movies, politics, anybody that's known to be a good by-mail signer, we'll let you know if they've passed away. This past couple weeks, we lost Claude Lemieux. Claude was a right wing for several NHL teams: Montreal, New Jersey, Colorado, Phoenix, Dallas, and San Jose from 1983 through 2009. Long career for him. Took a few years off in there before coming back with San Jose late. A 4-time Stanley Cup winner with 3 different teams. I believe he may have been the only player, or at least the first player, to have won a cup with 3 different teams: Montreal twice, Colorado, and New Jersey. He was the 1995 Conn Smythe Trophy winner. One of those players that you absolutely hate to play against, but in memorializing him, nothing but respect for him, it seemed like, from all the fans out there, which was definitely good to see, because that's a guy who's done a lot of stuff that players and fans absolutely hate. But, yeah, memorialized quite well by a lot of people there. He was a good TTMer through November 2025. I met him at the 2018 draft here in Dallas. Got a picture with him and everything. Super nice guy there. But, yeah, he was 60 years old.
And then we also lost Cliff Fletcher at the age of 90. He was an NHL executive for 8 decades with 6 teams during his career. He was the GM of Calgary's 1989 Cup-winning team, and he was an excellent TTMer through 2024.
We also lost Jerry Meehan just today. He was a center from 1968 to 79 for 6 NHL teams, notably the Buffalo Sabres, seems to be where his best numbers came from. 180 career goals for him. He was a 5-time 20-goal scorer in there as well. He was an excellent TTMer all the way through last month. Jerry Meehan was 79 years old.
And we also lost Dennis Hull at the age of 81. He was a left winger from 1964 to 1978 with 1/3 of the original 6 with both the Chicago Blackhawks and the Detroit Red Wings. He was a 5-time All-Star, had 303 goals to his credit, and had 7 20-goal seasons in his career as well. He was an excellent TTMer through 2024.
Keeping it in the hockey world, we also lost Forbes Kennedy this past week, I believe just a few days ago, in fact. He was a center from 1956 to 1969, played for 5 NHL teams. Kind of an early tough guy in the league, despite, he was smaller than I am. And he would take on just about anybody out there, though, as in the 68-69 season, he had 219 penalty minutes to lead the league, which, for somebody my size, I'm impressed by that, honestly. So, willing to throw down with just about anybody if he needed to in there. Forbes was an excellent TTMer through 2022. He also was 90 years old.
We also lost Rick Adelman in the last couple of weeks. He was 79 years old. He was a coach in the NBA from 1988 to 2014 with 5 different teams, and he was inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame in 2021. He was credited with over 1,000 career wins during his tenure, and he was a 2-time Western Conference champion, and he was an excellent TTMer through 2023.
We also lost Bob Horner earlier this month, a couple weeks ago there. He played, of course, third base for the Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals from 1978 to 88. Also spent a couple years in Japan in there when he was victimized by the collusion that MLB owners had taken place among them in the late 80s. Horner was a career .277 hitter, 218 career home runs, one of the few players to skip directly from college to the major leagues without spending a day in the minors. 1986 against the Expos, he had a 4-homer game, only the second 4-homer game hit by a player in a losing effort. He was a very good TTMer through this past April. Bob Horner was 68 years old.
And then we lost Bob Lacey at the age of 72. He was a pitcher from 1977 to 1984 with 5 teams in his career, and he was a Texas Ranger legend, having pitched 1 whole inning as a member of my favorite team. He was a reliever throughout much of his career. He owned a 20-29 record with a 3.67 ERA and 22 saves. He was an excellent TTMer through May.
Moving into the outfield, we lost Eddie Haas this past month. Eddie was an outfielder from 1957 to 60, played for the Cubs and the Milwaukee Braves. Mostly a pinch hitter in his career, played a little in the outfield along with that, though. He had 1 career home run with a .243 average. He's a good TTMer through May of 2025. Eddie Haas was 91 years old.
We also lost Ned Jarrett at the age of 93. He was a NASCAR racer from 1953 to 1966 and also was a broadcaster in his career. He was a member of 12 Halls of Fame. I mean, if there was a Hall of Fame for being in the Hall of Fame, I think he's a first ballot for sure. He had 50 wins in his career, and he was the 1961 and 1965 champion as well, and he was an excellent TTMer through April this year.
Moving into the football world, we lost Manny Fernandez. Fernandez, of course, was a defensive tackle for the Dolphins from 1968 to 75. Kind of a short career there, but in that time, he was a 2-time Super Bowl champ, winning back-to-back with the 72 and 73 Dolphins, part of the 17-0 1972 Dolphins squad, and credited with 35 sacks when Pro Football Reference went back and reviewed the pre-sack days of everything, but should have been credited with 35 of them in there. He was a good TTMer through this past May. Manny Fernandez was 79 years old.
And then we also lost the great Raymond Berry, who was 93 years old at the time of his passing. He was a wide receiver from 1955 to 1967 with the Baltimore Colts. He was inducted into the National Football Hall of Fame in 1973. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler in his career, 3-time All-Pro, and 2-time NFL champion. So very decorated career. He was also a 3-time NFL leader in receiving yards and had 68 career touchdowns as well. And he was the 1985 Coach of the Year with New England. And he was a tremendous friend of the hobby through 2019.
I'm guessing you've gotten him before, right? One of the things that Barry absolutely loved doing sometimes was he would write back and say, hey, I'm interested in like the etymology of last names. And I got a short note and a self-addressed stamped envelope back from him asking, hey, yeah, what's the background on the last name Pelto? Because I've never seen this one before. And so I sent him like this 3-page typed letter on the entire background of it and tracing it like back into Finland and everything. And got another letter back from him saying, wow, this is one of the best ones I've received. Thank you so much for this. I'm like, hey, here's an extra one. My grandmother's last name from the other side of my dad's family there, and sent that to him as well. And yeah, we had this correspondence for a bit over that. So it was really, really cool to do that. Yeah. So yeah, if you have lost anyone this week, our thoughts are certainly with you as we move on now to our TTM returns.
Was our mailbox full this week? Let's take a look at this week's TTM returns.
Well, it's the main reason why this show exists. We have our TTM returns. Arron, you've got kind of a short list here, so I will let you go first and get that out of the way. Mine is a little bit longer. I finally started getting a few back here, so have at it.
Yeah, so I've been away from home since Wednesday, and I had this whole 4-day camp that I was doing, and so when I came down here, I was focused on that and not doing the show. And so I think that there was one or two other ones that I've forgotten, but I definitely know that I got at least one back, and so I will. My apologies for my forgetfulness as far as that's concerned, but. So I'm gonna work on it, and if there are any that I missed, I will rightfully let you know on our next show. But the one that I do remember is I got back former Cardinals pitcher Scotty Layfield back. He signed 3 of 3 for me, and that one is important because he was in the 2002 Upper Deck 40-man set. So I'm happy to receive that. Beautiful autographs in blue. So yeah, always good to get a set hit. And so if you're gonna get one that counts.
Always good to get those ones back. I mean, that Upper Deck 40-man set is just so fun anyways. I mean, I'm not working on it quite as much as you are, but I've got a bunch of them there, and it's like, yeah, if I had more time and effort and could find the set easily complete, I might do it too, but I've got enough set projects, I think. All right, let's take a look. Here's what I have gotten over the last couple of weeks here. I'm going to go in kind of reverse chronological order here because the last one is kind of a shocker to me after I looked up some numbers on it there. So, starting from most recent, Randy Neiman, former pitcher for the Mets, got him back just today, signed 3 cards for me in the span of about 2 or 3 weeks or so. The one that I mentioned that got lost in the mail there for a little bit and finally showed up today was Shaun Wade, former NFL defensive back. I don't know how long he was in the NFL for, but I know at least he played college football and has gone to the UFL now. Former Ohio State Buckeye. Got him back on a few cards here. Took about 3 weeks or so on him as well. How about a coach from the UFL, Leroy Glover, formerly of the Dallas Cowboys, the Raiders, the Saints. Might have been a couple other teams in there, but he signed 4 cards for me in about 2 or 3 weeks. If you look on SCN, he hasn't signed since about 2021 or so. So a nice 5-year gap in between TTMs for him, but very glad to get him. Got back Bill Dawley, former pitcher for the Astros, as I see him right on top of my stack right over here. Pitched for the Astros, the Cardinals, the White Sox, maybe a few others there. Took about 2 weeks to send his cards back to me as well. Jay Howell, another 2-week return, formerly of the Dodgers, the A's. Was he a Ranger for a bit too, Jay Howell? Or am I thinking of Jay Powell?
You're probably thinking of Jay Powell.
I'm thinking of Jay Powell. Okay, yeah, I'm linking those two together. I mean, they're one letter apart. And they're both relievers, both pretty good relievers there for a bit at least. So, but yeah, Jay Howell, 2 weeks signing time on him. Got back Dan Pasqua as well, 2 weeks through his home address. Pasqua, just heads up, might only sign 1 or 2 items per request. I've seen people send 3 items, they get 2 cards back signed and 1 unsigned. I've seen people send him 2 cards and they might get 2 back unsigned. They might only get 1 back signed. So, yeah, just be forewarned on that you're probably only going to get 1 or 2, but yeah, he'll sign at least, which is better than you can say about a lot of guys. Got back Leon Durham, speaking of Chicago first baseman. Got a private signing with him that I got in on at sportscollectors.net. Took about 3 months on that one. I'm expecting that, though, because they said it's going to be late May, and it's like, might as well get it in now while I can. But got him back on a set hit there, 1984 Diamond King card. Moving back into the football world, Roman Pfeiffer, former linebacker of the LA and St. Louis Rams, took 6 months to get back to me through his, I believe, it's either his home address or he may be working with the Broncos. I know somewhere in Denver at least there, but took a 6 month return time on him. And lastly, another UFL coach on this one and a Ram like Roman Pfeiffer was, Tony Banks, former quarterback of the St. Louis Rams. He was with Michigan State before that as well. Last success on him on sportscollectors.net, 2009. So this guy has not signed in over 15 years, and it's like, you know what? Let's take a chance on him. Why not? Sent to the UFL address there. Got it back in about 2 months. So super happy to get that one in. And hey, I mean, Wade Butte, who we're going to be talking to in 2 weeks, who we talked to a few months ago, loves doing that stuff. He'll send all these long shots out, gets crazy on it there. And he said his success percentage is low, but there's some definite quality over quantity on what he gets back. And, you know, sometimes you got to give a try to the long shots there. And so that's exactly what I do with Tony Banks. And, hey, once in a while, it'll pay off. Well, that about does it for this episode of TTM Cast. Big thanks to Arron sitting into the co-host seat. Big thanks to Clemente Lisi for joining us in Clemente's world. And a big thanks, of course, to Ruthie Baker for doing all of the production work on this to send it from our mouths out to your ears. Next show is going to be on June 20th. We're going to have Collector's Corner with Wade Butte going on. Don't forget also to get in your entries for our upcoming drawing for some autographs. Like I said, the more entries we get, the better the prize package is going to be. It's at least 10 autographs. But for every 3 entries that we get, we're going to add in 1 more autograph to that pile. So get in on it. Get your friends in on it. It's going to dilute your chance of winning, but the prize is going to be bigger. So, balance that out. Which would you rather have? A chance of winning a bigger prize or a slightly better chance of winning a smaller prize? I mean, that's, kind of a toss up there at that point. Arron, any other thoughts here before we go ahead and put a bow on this one?
Yes, actually, 2 things. So I did a little mid-show research, right? I told you that I now have acquired the gold vinyl 2025 select card, and that's the 1/1. And now I also have the black finite, which is the other 1/1, the last one. And I never thought that I would hear or say these words in conjunction with one another, but the final 1/1 from that set, the 2025 Panini Select set for Michael Young, card number 136. Is the black snakeskin pulsar prism. So again, sounds very fancy. So if anybody can help me reel that one in, I would be very very helpful. That would be awesome. I'd be grateful for it. And also big shout out to our friend and avid listener Chris. So shout out to him. I'm sure we're going to be graphing together soon. So yeah, and we'll see all y'all on the next one.
There you go. I mean, I remember seeing like the black snake skin something or other come out. I didn't know it was a Pulsar one at all, but that's good to know because at first I was thinking, oh God, don't tell me it's going to be like the Baby Shark parallel or something. Which you laugh, right? You laugh, but they did a Baby Shark parallel in Donruss at one point. So yeah, if that had been a 1/1, I've been like that. That's it. I'm done. But fortunately, no. I think there was a little bit wider of a print run than just 1/1. But there you go. So yeah, if you come across that black snakeskin pulsar parallel, get in contact with Arron. He's going to be very interested in that. So once again, thanks for listening. Wishing you many happy returns as we see you next time on June 20th here on TTM Cast.
Everyone, be good.